Hi everybody, my name is Sybil Vasquez. I'm a Jamberry consultant. I just wanted to make a video on how I apply my nail wraps because I find the traditional method doesn't really work for me. I'm a nurse, I wash my hands hundreds of times during the week, and I've just found some ways that work better for me. So a couple things that you're going to need. I use a nail dehydrator. This one's called pH Bond. It actually is going to remove excess oil from your nail bed, much like the alcohol swabs or white vinegar work. But this actually works best for me because it really takes off that oily top coat. Another thing that you might not be familiar with is the rice bag. I made this, but you can also make it with a child's sock and a rubber band. I use a baggie and also my trusty iron. You'll see it's not dangerous. I won't put it directly on my fingers. Before I start putting on my nails, I want to make sure that everyone understands that the prep of the nail is extremely important. I always make sure I use a spoon cuticle pusher, and I always push back my cuticles first. I file the edges. I buff the top of the nail to rough up any of the shiny part or any ridges that you might have. And then I always go to the sink, scrub my nails nice and hard with Dawn dish soap to make sure I get any excess out. I'm going to go with the Madeline wrap with black polka dots and a black and white skinny stripe. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to do the Madeline wrap on my pinky. So you need to size up which wrap works best for your finger. You want to make sure it's not too big, not too small, but something that's going to work just fine. If you can see, it's on all, it's perfect sizing. So I'm going to take this wrap off with my tweezers. Make sure you don't touch it with your fingers. Let me move those other wraps out of the way. You want to make sure you don't touch it with your fingers. Take some scissors and you're going to trim that wrap in half. And I didn't even use half of it. It's really important when you have these wraps that you don't touch the bottom part that's going to go attached to your nail. But if you have excess, I know I'm going to be filing that part off, so I don't worry about it touching me. Next thing I do, I'm going to paint on the nail dehydrator for that nail. And you can be generous with that. It's going to take all the oil out of the cuticle and everything else. Now next comes my handy iron here. I'm going to bring them over. And you're actually going to hold your wrap adhesive side towards the heat, and you're going to see the wrap start to flex when it gets warm enough. You can use any heat source. I know some people use their hot irons. I've seen people use their toaster. Of course, the Jamberry mini heater. I live in Florida. I don't need any heat blowing on me in excess of what I already have. So that's nice and warmed up, it's soft and flexible. And you're going to take the wrap and place it on your finger, being very careful not to touch your cuticles or the skin around your nail. You're going to wrap to the side and wrap to the side. And you're going to push and push and push. Now, Jamberry wraps are heat and pressure activated, so the more heat and the more pressure that you can tolerate, the better your adherence will be. So here I am. I'm not on my cuticle, I'm not on the side of my nails. The next part that I do, I take some large clippers, and I'm going to clip the excess off, but leave a little bit of a lip. You can probably see that lip there in the camera. Just enough so it's not flapping in the wind. Okay, so you have that. Now my next step, I'm going to take my baggie, actually put my finger in the baggie like that. Make sure that it's nice and tight. You get a nice tight edge around the top. Then I'm going to bring my iron back and I'm going to take my rice bag and just gently rub it on the iron to heat it up. A lot of people put rice bags in the microwave. That's great, but the whole thing will be hot and not the side you want to be hot. So if you're doing your nails, you're going to ruin the good nails that you did because the rice bag's still so hot. So it's warmed up on this side. I'm going to put pressure on it all around the edge, all around the edge. Do a little more heat on the top. Want to make sure you get good adherence on every part. So now, for now, this nail's done. I'm going to go back. We don't file until the very end. You don't want to file any warm wraps. You want them to be cooled to the touch. You want to make sure that they're not hot, otherwise it will cause those layers to separate. So we're going to move on to the next fingernail. It's a polka dot. And I know that this finger for me, it's a different size. It doesn't always fit just right. So I'm going to show you guys my trick on how to make sure that you get your nails done just right, the right size. I use double-sided tape. This is my chameleon. It has double-sided tape in it. So I'm going to take a piece of tape, put it on your finger, push it down a little bit. Because it's double-sided, it will stick to your other finger as well. And we're going to trace the cuticle line, okay, all the way around. Okay, then you're going to take your wrap, flip it over, take your tape off, ink side down to the back of the wrap, and you're going to find a wrap that best fits that finger. That wrap pretty well fits my finger, but there's a little excess on this side. So you're going to take your scissors, trim just barely inside that ink line. The trick with double-sided tape is if you use regular Scotch tape, you're going to get a mirror image of your fingernail. And not all fingernails are equal on both sides. You might have one part that's skinny and one part that's flat, and you'll wind up having a kind of funny looking nail if you cut it mirror image wise. So here we go. There's a perfectly cut wrap for my ring finger. So again, we're going to take the dehydrator, paint the dehydrator on there. I'm going to use my tweezers. You don't want to touch the wrap with your fingers. All the oil's the enemy. So you want to make sure that you've got that all taken care of. Oh, my iron's shutting off. There we go. So the wrap's taken off the backing. We're going to heat it up again. You're going to start to see the wrap flex when it gets warmed up. You see it curving there. There we go. And then we're going to take your nail. Take it on there and gently push it onto all of your finger. Now, my fingernails are quite curvy. I don't know if you can see that. So when your fingernails are curvy, I also do this trick. When I put on my wrap, my pinky's not that bad, so I didn't pull it. But I'm going to actually tug on the wrap itself. And this is going to prevent any little buckling on the side, because when your nail is curved, you're putting a flat sheet on a curved surface, so you kind of need to stretch that wrap out. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat today. Alright, so again, you're going to clip the excess. Make sure you leave a little lip. You're going to put your finger in the baggie. And again, we're shrink wrapping this wrap onto it. So you're going to warm it up on the iron again with your rice bag. Making sure you're paying attention to the edges and the top. Okay. And the first time you do this, you'll think it's really labor intensive. It's not labor intensive, it's just a different way of doing your fingernails. Anyone that's ever done gel fingernails on themselves will tell you that Jamberry are absolutely nothing compared to gel. So we've got 3 nails finished in this pattern. And since I know that this one's cooled down enough, I'll show you how to finish off a nail for sake of time. I won't do my whole entire hand. You're going to take a fingernail file and you're going to file at a 90-degree angle downward filing. What this is going to do, it's going to take off any excess wrap that's on the nail. Now, if you can see on the end here, I have a little extra. That's okay. I'm going to use clippers instead of the nail file to get a cleaner edge and to make sure that I don't have any excess hanging over. Sometimes it's hard to get those nail files at a 90 degrees for the sake of trimming them. Also, if you have short nails, it's going to be really hard for you to file the excess. Go ahead and clip the excess and you'll have a really good seal. So now that I've sealed off the edge, I cut the excess. You're going to heat it one last time. This last heat cycle, make sure that your edges are sealed. And that's what's really important to me being a nurse, washing my hands so much. I'm also in the pool nonstop with my kids, and I don't have any issues with my tips lifting whatsoever. And there we go. There's one gorgeous little Madeline nail wrap. One last part that I do, I make sure that all my edges have been pushed down, that I don't have any lifting on the top. I make sure to avoid putting any of the oil, the cuticle oil, taking a bath, taking a shower for at least 5 hours after I put my wrap on. You want to give that wrap a chance to cure and to be able to properly adhere to your nail. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My contact information will be on the video link. Have a blessed day, guys. Bye-bye.